Hi guys, this is Kumar and I welcome all of you to my YouTube channel. Friends, today I am going to discuss with you a very beautiful novel, The Blind Assassin, the winner of the Booker Prize of 2000, and it has been written by a famous Canadian writer, Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood is so famous that she has written over 50 plus books, and her famous novels are The Edible Woman, Surfacing, The Cat's Eye, and there are so many others like The Handmaid's Tale, which has been adapted into Netflix series, and her recent novel, the sequel to The Handmaid's Tale, and that is The New Testament. So today we are going to review the story of The Blind Assassin, which has been written by Margaret Atwood. This is the novel. It is a very thick and long novel, about over 600 pages, and it says that 10 days after the war ended, my sister Laura drove a car off a bridge. 10 days after the Second World War ended, after 10 days, her sister Laura Chase finally ended her life by making a suicide. More than 50 years on, Iris Chase is remembering Laura's mysterious death. And so begins an extraordinary and compelling story of two sisters and their secrets. Set against a panoramic backdrop of 20th century history, The Blind Assassin is an epic tale of memory, intrigue, and betrayal. I completed reading this novel in about a month. It took me a month to complete this novel because this novel was very gripping. It just absorbed you. Not only this novel, whatever novel you read of this writer, you will you get lost while reading the novel of Margaret Atwood. Earlier, I read Surfacing. I've had the same kind of experience. But when I started reading this novel, I was unable to understand the diction of the writer because it was so difficult for me to go through it. But as soon as as soon I read more and more about this author, more and more about the novel, I got to know the story of the novel. I got familiar with that there are three stories continuing in just a novel. So it is not just one story within a novel. It is two stories within a novels, and there are three stories embedded together to make it the whole novel. So it was a kind of good experience by reading these novels. I was like I was dumbfounded after when I ended this novel, and I thought that I should share the story of this novel with you. So you must read this novel. This is a must read book. It is a world classic, and yeah, you can go through it if you want to. Still, if you don't have enough time to go through the novel, you can watch this video. So let us discuss the story of this novel. Deals with the two sisters, Iris Chase and Laura Chase. There is 3 years gap between them. They are born into a wealthy family. Both of them used to fight when they were a child, and it has been told to Laura from the childhood. Sorry, it has been told to Iris from the childhood that she need to care of the young daughter, that is Laura Chase. When the novel opens, we get to know that Laura Chase has been dead. She drove a car off a bridge that was under construction, and she threw into a river, and that's how she lost her life. Although in the newspaper it was mentioned that it was due to road construction or bridge constructions, or because there were no signs of under construction going on, and there was some kind of misconception that it was a kind of accident, but everyone believed that it was a suicide. Most of all, Iris Chase, her elder sisters, believed that Laura has attempted a suicide, and from there on, our stories gets back into the historical lives of the two sisters. So the two sisters are born into a wealthy family, as I told you, as I mentioned earlier. Laura Chase and Iris Chase. Iris Chase is the older daughter and Laura Chase is the younger daughter. They are born into a wealthy family. Their father's name is Norval Chase. Their grandfather was a rich businessman. He had a button factory of his own. His name was Benjamin Chase, and their grandmother was of kind of showy woman, and their mother was a very kind of religious woman. She died early, and their father was a distance. He didn't care much about their daughter, and so this kind of stories deals with they had a teacher in the childhood. First of all, they had a kind of lady teacher who was very sportive, but her father thought that the lady teacher is not good for the girls, so he hired another teacher that was a kind of cruel teacher. He used to punish the girls. He also used to seduce Laura. He also tried to seduce Laura. So when their father get to know about this, he fired that teacher too. So after that, we get to know that we also, as I mentioned earlier, their mother gets died. Her father started having an affair with a kind of woman, and with that woman, a man visited their house who was known as Alex Thomas. Laura attracted towards Alex Thomas, and somehow they became closer, and they became close friends. After that. The Great Depression of 1930 took place in Canada, and Norval Chase, both the factories got shut down, and there were riots in the city, and and Alex Thomas has been blamed for the riots, for the political upheavals, and that's why. Uh, and someone has been mentioned for the Alex Thomas that he need to be caught. Laura Chase helped Alex Thomas to Laura Chase hid Alex Thomas in her house, and Iris Chase helped her sister in that scene. While in living in the house, Iris and Alex came closer, and there was a scene when Alex tried to kiss Laura several times. Alex tried to kiss Iris Chase several times, and after that, Alex had to leave within a month of their house. Within a month and a half month, Alex Thomas had to leave their house. After that, when the Norval Chase's factories got shut down, he was very depressed. He started drinking very hard, and one day he came upon a chance that Richard Griffin, the well-known politician, the well-known industrialist of Toronto City, formerly a rival of Norval Chase, came closer to Norval, and they made a deal that Iris, Norval's elder sister, would be married to Richard, and Richard would take care of Norval business, and he will help Norval stand up in business again. So Richard proposed Iris, and she agreed due to her father's pressure. Due to her father's pressure, she had to marry Richard, though she didn't want to, because she was much younger than Richard, and Richard was very cold and distant, and she didn't like Richard even a bit. But she had to endure the marriage life due to her father's, because she wanted to do something for her father. They got married. After married, they go to honeymoon, and after a few months, they returned back to their city in Port Ticonderoga. And Iris got to know that her father had died, and Richard had conceived respect from her, but she couldn't say anything because she was helpless in front of Richard. Richard used to do whatever his sister Winifred told him, and that's how Winifred had also got hold of Iris. She couldn't say anything, she accepted this thing, and after their father's death, Laura had to move in with her with her sister in Toronto. Though she didn't like to, Richard put her into a school. She didn't like school either. She used to escape from the school and wander in the city. And after some times, Richard got to know about that. And one day, about in 1937, Richard uh, told Iris that Laura is mad. Laura is mentally retarded. She's saying that he has been, she's pregnant. She's going through a mental disorder. So because of that, they need to put Laura in a institutions far above from the city. Iris couldn't say anything. She was sad, but as she was also pregnant with Amy, so she couldn't say anything. She was not allowed to visit Laura. She was not allowed to meet Laura. She was not allowed to talk Laura on phone. She was kept aside from Laura due to her pregnancy. So after few months, Amy is born. Iris is happy. Uh, but during this time, Laura has been fled from that institution, fled from this hospital where she had been kept by Richard and Winifred. And uh, Iris didn't care much about her sister now because it has been passed so many times. It has passed a long months that she now, though she thinks about her, but she has her daughter Amy to look after, and that's why she doesn't much care about her sister. Just when the war got ended, Laura came to meet her sister Iris. She told her that she had really been pregnant and it was not just mentally retarded. Richard just put her away into an institution to put away the scandal. Iris thought that Laura had been pregnant by Alex Thomas, but this was not the case. Laura told her that she is waiting for Alex Thomas, who has gone to Spain for the World War. There, Iris told her sister that she had received a telegram in which it was mentioned that Alex Thomas has been died. Laura was dumbfounded. She couldn't say anything. And at that time, Iris told her sister that she repented. She thought that she hadn't said that thing to Laura. She told her sister that she had an affair with Alex Thomas for a few months altogether. Laura could not believe this. She took the purse of Iris and took her car also and left the place. After 2 to 3 days, within a week, we get to know that Laura has been dead, as I mentioned earlier, at first in the novel, at first in the video. She had been driven off a bridge under construction, and she attempted a suicide and she died on that place. After her death, when Iris gone through Laura's notebooks, she got to know that it was not Alex Thomas but Richard who had impregnated Laura. He had been having sex with Laura on the pretext that he would save Alex from going into the prison. And Iris could not believe this. She could not accept this. She left her husband on the very same day, and she left for what? Ticonderoga to live there. Finally, she took her daughter Amy also with her. But when Richard died, uh, then Iris started having affairs with so many kinds of men, and finally Winifred took hold of Amy. After Amy's death, Sabrina, Amy's daughter, Winifred also took hold of Sabrina's too, saying that she is the first relation of Sabrina, and she is the dependent relation of Sabrina. Iris did not try to fight Winifred because she did not want to. She had not the courage now. She is above 80 years old. Myra is taking care of Iris for so many times, and her husband Walter also. Myra is the daughter of Rini, who the girl who used to look after both the sisters in their children. So that's why Myra is very close to Iris. In all her life, after when her everyone was related to Iris died, Iris tried to took hold of Sabrina, but she could not get the courage to talk to Sabrina, and that's why she never met Sabrina. But she wrote a novel. From the beginning of the novel, we get to know that the dead Laura Chase wrote a novel before her death, that is Blind Assassin. So it is a novel within a novel. She published this novel posthumously after her death, but in the end, we get to know that it was not Laura Chase, but it was Iris Chase who actually wrote the novel. Iris Chase wrote all the story related to her life in the novel. In The Blind Assassin, that is a novel within a novel, we get to know that there is an unnamed man and unnamed woman. They both had a kind of relationship. They both used to meet together on different occasions, on different places. They both kind of had illicit relationship. They used to have fun. They used to have sex while they meet, wherever they get to meet. And that's why in the end, we get to know that the novel was not written by Laura, but actually it was written by Iris. Iris herself revealed this fact that she wrote this novel, and she gave the name of Laura to this novel because she had not the courage to give it her name. And she wrote her whole life in it, she says that. And it is believed that the unnamed man in the novel is Alex Thomas, and the unnamed heroine in the novel is probably Laura or Iris. It is not revealed by Iris, by either Iris uh, or by the novelist. In the novel, that is Blind Assassin, the unnamed man told the heroine the story of the planet of the Zyklon, how they lived, how they fight, and how they, how they performed their ritual fantasies. That has been all mentioned by the unnamed man in the novel. In the end, Iris left a will for her granddaughter, that is Sabrina. She left her will all for she left all her diaries, all her book. She wrote this book for the for her granddaughter Sabrina, and she mentioned in her will that it should be given to her. It should be given to her grandchildren Sabrina. Meanwhile, she is above 80 years old. Myra has been taking care of her for so many time, and her husband Walter also taking care of her. Myra is the daughter of that servant who looked after both the girls in their childhood, and that is Rini. So Myra is the daughter of Rini, and that is why Myra is taking care of Iris all this while. In the end, Iris told that she left looking after Sabrina because she thought that Sabrina should not go. Sabrina should not get hold. Sabrina should not go through, but her mother Amy gone through, because Iris didn't take care much of Amy, and that is why she lost Amy from her hand. In the end, we get to know that finally Iris Chase also died a happy death, because she died in her garden while sitting in her garden. And in the end, we get to know only that. And Sabrina got to know the history of her, got to know the history of her family through this book, through the book that was written by Iris. But it has mentioned in the beginning of the novel that it was Laura Chase who wrote the novel, that is The Blind Assassin. But actually, if you ask me, The Blind Assassin was written by Margaret Atwood. A very amazing, a very famous novel. I enjoyed reading this novel. When I read this novel, I was dumbfounded. I was like, wow, what a kind of novel, what a kind of thrilling story it is. And it is a world classic novel. It is a must read for once in this life. and I must suggest you that you must read this novel. Still, if you don't have enough time to read this novel, you can go through this video, you can listen to the video, and I think I have mentioned all the things that is there in the novel. And this much all in this lecture from my side. I hope I told you I hope I told you the story in a very detailed and in a very in a very simple manner. If you have any doubt, you can write in the comments, and if you like the video, please don't forget to like, share and comment on the video, and please subscribe the channel for further such updates, because you will get these kind of videos in my channel on regular basis. This much all in this lecture. Thank you very much for joining us. Jai Hind.